This week on Storyboard, we have NourishCo Beverages MD Vikram Grover speaking about the plans for summer, new campaign for Tata Gluco Plus, their new product pipeline and much more. We have Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, speaking about their new campaign for Dream11, expectations from IPL and outlook for 2023. And we have Prashant Tekwani, Managing Partner, Avas CX India, and Tarun Jha, Chief Executive Officer of Avas Creative India, speaking about the findings from their X Index 2023 report. Hello and welcome to Storyboard. I'm Shubhani Gharat. NourishCo was formed as a joint venture between Tata Consumer Products Limited and PepsiCo. TCPL bought out the later stake in the company in 2020 as it sought to widen its presence in food and beverages segment and establish its presence in more sub-segments besides tea, salt and coffee, where it holds a considerable market share. Under this strategy, the company has been rapidly launching new products and will continue to do so. Its current portfolio includes Himalayan Natural Mineral Water, Tata Gluco Plus, Tata Copper Plus Water, Tata Fruski and Himalayan Honey and Preserves range. I caught up with Vikram Grover, MD NourishCo Beverages, and spoke to him about the plans for summer month, new campaign for Tata Gluco Plus, their product pipeline and much more. Vikram, welcome to CNBC-TV18.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Shivani. Great to be here.
So let's first speak about the new campaign launch, which is the Tata Gluco Plus. Summers are here. What are your plans for summers with this particular campaign, and how will the next few weeks or the next couple of months of summer look like?
Yeah, so great to be talking to you. You see, Tata Gluco Plus is a brand which has got a lot of opportunity before it. We do very well in certain parts of the country. So we are very strong. We are almost an iconic brand in the south and the east. And we have a very small presence in the rest of the country. And what we are seeking to do as a business is that we are seeking to create a presence for this brand across the country. And in order to be able to do this, of course, we are driving distribution and increasing supply. But I think most critically, we feel that it's important to actually build this brand with Gen Z consumers. And this advertising campaign that we're talking about today is really all about that. It's about building this brand and communicating the wondrous proposition of this brand to Gen Z consumers. I think the other thing that we're doing is that taste and sensorial pleasure is of great importance in this category. And the other thing that we're doing with this campaign is that we're launching the new cola variant, which is a wonderful product.
South, you mentioned there is a strong preference for Tata Gluco Plus. Yes, South has harsh summers, but South is also a market which is very difficult to crack, and also the attention of almost all, beverage players out there is on the southern market during the summer months. So what really works, if you can share the insights?
The brand purpose that we have is making the overcoming of challenges fun. And I think that's extremely relevant to the TG that we are going after, which is Gen Z. And the way that brand purpose gets translated into our advertising and the advertising idea is Tata Gluco Plus Energy On, Game On. So that's really the secret sauce for the success of this brand. I think it's a wondrous product. It does wonders for you in the summer. It's available at 10 rupees and it's available in the cup format, which makes it very, very easy to gulp and sip down very quickly.
What are the opportunities in the functional beverage category, just like the Tata Gluco Plus is in, for NourishCo?
The fact that this is a big opportunity for us also reflects in the progress that we've made in this business, particularly post-COVID. So in March of 2021, we clocked a turnover which was just north of 170 crores. I think this year, which is March of 2023, the fiscal that finishes in March of 2023, we'll have a turnover which is in the ballpark of 600 crores. So that will be about, I think, 3.5 times what we started off from. And next year, I think we are going to be looking at a turnover which is north of 1,000 crores.
Wow.
And that's an aspirational number that we have. That's an aspirational target that has been put out for us. Now, I think all of this has been made possible because we've got a portfolio of extremely differentiated, good-for-you functional offerings. Let me talk about them briefly. We've got Tata Gluco Plus, which is this low-cost drink, which plays at the cusp of sports and energy. We've got Tata Copper Plus, which is doing roaringly well, and that really plays on the age-old wisdom of India. We've also got Tata Fruski, which seeks to upgrade consumers from street beverages to branded beverages. We've recently launched Tata Gluco Plus Jelly, which is a one-of-its-kind format in India. There's no other product like this. It's a sippable, drinkable jelly that we've launched. And we've also launched Fruski Juice and Jelly, which is a wonderful amalgam of fruit drink and jelly. And then on Himalayan, which is the original source water brand in India, therefore a very functional brand. We are seeking to broaden our footprint beyond just water, and we've launched preserves and honey. So really, we see these are some of the quote unquote functional opportunities that we've tapped into in the recent past. We see a number of similar opportunities going forward. It's impossible to comment on exactly what we're going to be doing. But I think our commitment is to actually launch products which are highly differentiated, which are good for consumers, and which are functional. And that's what we're seeking to do.
You also, you kept Himalayan as a source brand, and, you mentioned how, early on, actually, like a couple of months ago, you expanded it to other categories as well. So when do you think, Vikram, I'm tempted to ask you, when do you think a brand expansion or extension makes sense? How do you take that call?
In all the work that we've done on Himalayan, what we've always found is that Himalayan enjoys iconic status with a certain set of consumers in this country. And of course, almost by definition, these are affluent, well-heeled consumers. And that is just one aspect of these very many multifaceted consumers. So, we had a share of equity which was far larger than our share of wallet. We had iconic status. And we felt that the brand, for the same set of consumers, the brand could offer much more than just water very meaningfully to this consumer set, because nobody was targeting them with the sorts of products that they were seeking in their lives. So really, I think that's what enabled us to make this decision of actually taking Himalayan just beyond water.
What about the other brands from NourishCo? Do you plan to do something similar with them as well in the coming days?
I think the first is that we are geographically concentrated. So we're using distribution, supply, and brand building to actually become a pan-India business. I think the second thing is that we've got a very focused portfolio for a beverage company. And we've taken steps to address that over the last several months. Like I said, we've launched Tata Gluco Plus Jelly. We've launched Fruski Juice and Jelly. And we've launched Himalayan Preserves, Himalayan Honey, and so on. The intention is to continue that momentum. So we're just launching the cola variant on Tata Gluco Plus. So the intention is to continue that going forward and to expand the portfolio. So it's geographical expansion, portfolio expansion, and really making Himalayan a source brand. I think if you are able to do these three things well, I think we will be able to not just hit this 4-figure number. I think we will have a very long, almost endless runway for growth ahead of us.
Well, all the best for that. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing these insights with us, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Shivani, for your time.
It is time for a short break. On the other side, we have Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, speaking about Dream11's new campaign, expectations from IPL and outlook for 2023.
इस बार टाटा आईपीएल सिर्फ जियो सिनेमा पर।
क्या नानू?
What?
हर महीने नया इंटरेस्ट, लास्ट मंथ पॉटरी, इस मंथ डीजे।
अरे यार, अगर हर महीने इंटरेस्ट मिलता रहे तो हर महीने कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग होना चाहिए कि नहीं? क्योंकि मेरा बैंक जो है वो मेरी तरह, सॉरी तुम्हारी तरह है, यंग एंड फ्रेंडली।
आपकी तरह।
Welcome back. After Rohit Sharma, Hardik Pandya, Jasprit Bumrah, Dream11 has more names to add on to their list of endorsers. Dream11 has come up with a new campaign, Ab Sab Khelenge, with their new ambassadors Amir Khan, R. Madhavan and Sharman Joshi. In a conversation with Storyboard18's Tasmai Laha Roy, Vikrant Mudaliar, Chief Marketing Officer at Dream Sports, talks about the campaign, expectations from IPL and outlook for 2023.
Hello and welcome to Storyboard18, Vikrant. Glad to have you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. So we directly start about the exciting new campaign that you have launched. If you can tell us a little more about plans around the campaign.
The unique twist that we have this year is that while we have focused on using cricketers and cricket fans as very integral to our advertising campaigns, there's a unique marriage of cricketers and Bollywood that is happening this time. As you can appreciate, not to use the cliche of how Bollywood and cricket are the two biggest religions in the country, but a little bit of that also in terms of expanding our reach and tapping into new users is happening this year. And we are the campaign this year, in addition to our cricketers, will also feature Amir Khan, Madhavan, and Sharman Joshi, the famous Three Idiots, as you would recall. It's a happy coincidence that there's that little bit of legacy and memories of Three Idiots that the campaign would build on. But it's an interesting twist of how there's fun and banter happens when cricketers meet Bollywood superstars like the three I mentioned, and how Dream11 is an enabling platform on where, Sab Khelenge, that's what we are talking about.
Talking about IPL, tell us a little bit about your expectations from IPL 2023. And given that this year we have free streaming on Jio Cinemas, that with that kind of amplification, how does it help brands like yours?
Our expectation is that this probably will be one of the biggest IPLs that we've seen. The point about right now, in terms of streaming being available on Jio Cinema versus the matches being available on Star Sports, means that overall we would like to believe there is an incremental reach that happens in expanding the viewership for the tournament per se. We will in all probability partner with both platforms, and that's something that we're evaluating. Anything that helps in getting us incremental reach and also engaging with existing users means that that's a good choice for us.
Sure. And talking of the ecosystem, Vikrant, from where you started the journey of having Dream11 offerings to being the torchbearer in the industry to coming this long way, it has been quite a journey. So if you can help us understand the evolution of the brand.
It's been an interesting journey for us. You're absolutely right. Dream11 has been even if it sounds a bit immodest, the torchbearer for the fantasy sports industry. With now 160 million plus users, means that it's not just India's but the world's largest actually fantasy sports platform. If you rewind to even 5 years back or 6 years back, that user base that I refer to, which is 160 million, was a fraction of that. Every successive year, we've seen that growth, not just in terms of our users, but also actively engaged users, as we like to call them, from being, just one or two sports to almost now 12, 13 different sports, in addition to cricket being offered on Dream11 has happened. I think just as a product and the user experience that we have on the Dream11 app today is far more sophisticated and far more, engaging for the users than it has been over the last few years. This acceptance or awareness about how fantasy sports, adds that additional layer of excitement and engagement to sport in general. The point I made about, turning passive sports fans into active sports fans means that it's gained large traction across the nation. We are very happy to see that it's over the years, it's no longer just been an urban phenomenon, but in terms of penetration, and our user base is now very well, spread across tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 towns. So it's and what the sports leagues and event organizers repeatedly come back and tell us that they're very happy with the association with Dream11 because thanks to that engagement with fans has meant that we've had an indirect impact also on increasing engagement and viewership for these tournaments as well.
If you can help us understand your perspective on content and how do brands such as yourself leverage content to amplify reach and engagement with your target audience?
Yes, there is still the role for the good old, television commercial, which gets modified and used for digital platforms as well. But I think social media has had a great role to play in terms of, bite-sized content which engages, which brands come up with and using, different platforms, whether it's Facebook, Insta, or Twitter for that matter. Customizing that kind of content, which we have also started doing. One interesting thing is even for our digital advertising, which till about 4 years back was almost 100% static advertising, has now moved to almost 50 to 70% of even our digital advertising being video based. So coming up with content which is more customized for the digital audience. Duration is a key one, where it needs to be usually short duration. And customizing and personalizing for what goes on television versus what is performance advertising versus what is branded content for social media. So there is a lot of that has gone into figuring out how much we need to customize content. The other bit which I referred to earlier is also content just doesn't mean advertising content or brand content, but also the kind of content that we have on in a product or on our app. So there's live scores, there's commentary, there's stats, then there's obviously the leaderboard that we have. So I mean, if somebody was to sample or use the Dream11 app today versus what they used, let's say 4 years back, they would see that richness of content and engagement that they have just on the Dream11 app itself. So I think product content married with brand content, married with, let's say, advertising content has evolved a lot in the last 4 years, and we see only more personalization and customization happening in years to come.
Sure. Lastly, Vikrant, if you can tell us a little bit about your outlook for 2023 in the robust gaming space that we have in India at the moment.
So as enough, industry reports also indicate that the gaming overall in India seems to have reached an inflection point of sorts, in terms of just its growth potential. There's enough data points suggesting that maybe by 2030, this should be close to a $20 billion industry, up from, let's say, the $3 to $4 billion that it currently is. What's been nice to notice is that there are different facets and sub-segments within gaming, which are also evolving. So there's fantasy sports, obviously, which Dream11 continues to operate in. But there's the entire Web3 gaming space. There's mid-core gaming, there's mobile gaming, there's console gaming, So I think esports to that extent, a lot of this now has a number of players within the industry. All of them will find their own niche and growth segments. In some of them, Dream11 / Dream Sports, which is our sort of parent entity, might have a direct or an indirect role to play. But overall, I think it's looking very optimistic for the overall gaming ecosystem in that sense.
Great. Thank you so much, Vikrant, for the chat. It has been an amazing session. Thank you so much for joining.
It is